attack. Many players in the early days of the beta went only Roach Hydra and of course would only upgrade those missile attacks, but we're seeing players increasingly favor the Zerglings and the Ultralisks, and oh yes indeed, the Banelings, one of the all-time sweetest units of Starcraft 2. I will happily say that, despite the fact that the game hasn't even been released yet. All-time coolest unit known to man. In a strategy game, the Banelings, the Walking Scourge. And it looks like the little one also sieging up at his front lines with these tanks. Tanks also good at taking out Banelings, but it's all about positioning. Can Idra flank with those units properly? And oh, it looks like a drop was in preparation for the little one, but the one single poaching overlord for Idra spots that. The Vikings do manage to take it out, but Idra's going to be able to get in position. And again, look at this beautiful creep spread, setting up a nice arc so he can manage any sort of aggression coming up early on. 2 bunkers down for little one just in case. Continuing to just make out of these structures. Also getting, ooh, more tanks. And it looks like here's the big drop for the little one, but the Hydralisks are right there ready to defend. That is a lot of Hydralisks. Ouch! The Hydralisks are able to just roast that one Viking immediately. And of course do clean up nicely as well. So Zerglings, Banelings coming out for Idra. He does have an infestation pit, getting the pathogen glands. That is the extra energy boost for those, I almost called them defilers, excuse me, for the infestors, and the Queen manages to take out one of the Vikings. Little one trying to find any vulnerability, but as of yet, these Vikings have done virtually nothing to Idra. Idra, look at this, already at 142 food, surging so far ahead. Look at that differential. Idra way, way ahead in food. The little one's going to have to pray that these tanks are going to be able to do enough damage. Looks like the little one is now backing up to get more Marines, as of course, he does need to be more effective against those Hydralisks. The Marauders aren't quite the best unit against those Hydras, but meanwhile, Idra just spreading creep, making sure his units have maximum speed as they approach. Whoops, losing one more Viking. Nice spotting by Idra. And Idra, now that his goop has spread pretty much halfway across the map, taking that essential gold expansion. So we're going to have enough resources to continue to maintain this lead. It's right when the Terran gets this critical number of tanks. 7, 8, 9 tanks. Only 6 right now for little one, but the more you get, the better you can deal with these huge Baneling numbers and, of course, be able to take out the Infestors. Infestor plus Baneling, a great composition. The Infestors lock down units with a fungal growth. The Banelings run up to the front. More Overlords with speed spreading out, trying to also gain some creep advantage. Idra pulling back nicely and also continuing to expand those creep tumors. No siege yet with all these tanks. Looks like the little one is just in defense mode. Will he transition to battle cruisers? That's a technique we've seen him do before. Just the turtle BC combo. A third factory with tanks. Look at the number of tanks the little one is getting. And I'm curious to see, yes indeed, there's the Ultralisk Cavern going down for Idra. Idra also getting the +2 armor and the +2 melee attack. His Zerglings are 1-1 right now, and of course that means that the Banelings are 1-1 too. They will be doing about 40 damage versus light and even more when those additional upgrades finish. So here is the gold expansion now finishing for Idra. He's immediately throwing down 2 geysers. His gas is one of the scarcest resources in StarCraft 2. I mean, I know there are only 2 resources, but especially when compared to StarCraft 1, you run out of gas very quickly in this game. One of the tanks almost gets a shot off on these Hydralisks, but again, very nice control, very fragile distance here that Idra's managing beautifully. And of course, the Ursa Calf providing a little bit of cover, and it looks like the little one advancing forward for his first push. Look at this nice leapfrogging with the tanks. Doesn't want to be too vulnerable to the Banelings, even though the Banelings more of an anti-marine unit. Still got to be very, very careful not to cluster whatever units you do have. Zerglings now backing off. No air units anywhere for Idra. Does he even have a Spire? Yes, he does have one in the back, but hasn't made too much use of it yet. SCV's coming into the fray. Going to be useful for the... And here's the huge attack moving forward. The Banelings are surrounding all these Marauders, and even though they don't do too much damage, still very nice surround. But of course, these tanks by little ones go all the way back. Look how many tanks there are from the little ones. So it looks like a slow death push coming up for TLO in this game. No upgrades yet on the tanks, but looks like the +2 is down for the Marines. Excuse me, +1. No +2 research yet, as there is not an armory out. And Ultralisks up for Idra. Very careful timing again, trying not to attack too soon, too late. Idra also having that North Gold and is currently maxed. The little one is about 150 food, and here the Ultralisks advancing forward. A lot of tanks getting siege. Vikings advancing forward as well. These 2 tanks fall immediately, and there are virtually no infantry units. These Ultralisks are just ripping through these tanks. As the frontline units, they are doing marvelously. There are no Marauders anywhere, and the little one ends up saying GG after a very, very, very passive initial game. Looks like those tanks weren't quite enough. Needed to have a little bit more Marauders in that mix. That would have helped them against those Ultralisks. And of course, because those expansions are so close on Steps of War, it was very difficult for the little one to pull off any harass with his dropships, with his Vikings. There were no ledges to exploit. So, of course, Idra, the well-known American Zerg player in South Korea, making short work of Little One on Steps of War. We will be going into the second map in just a bit.